Ms. Hilliard, I heard you talk about the additional staff that's coming online and the improvements to merge the call center. Do you have a timeline for when Californians can expect to be able to get application support rather than just technical support at the call center?
Well, we're bringing the next 600 online. They should be by mid-June. And we're getting ready, although we're getting ready to hire a total of 1,800 people right now in order to process claims and address the issues that I think I heard one of you say earlier. And we're turning around and going to do another second big, huge hire to be sure that we can address all the issues. We believe, with the additional funding that's coming next fiscal year, that we'll have plenty of budget in order to continue to quickly ramp up our services, both in the call center as well as with processing. So that's where we're going. So our hiring right now, we should have everyone on board in the next 2 weeks, the 1,800. And then, like I said, we're turning right around and doing another big hiring with the assistance of other departments and CalHR that have been great partners to help us really have a very aggressive hiring up.
So I understand.
As you can imagine, when this started, we were at the lowest 3.9% unemployment rate. Well, our staff was at that same level. Yeah. So we had to turn on a dime in order to start processing claims that instead of 2,000 to 5,000 every day, up to, I think our highest day was 235,000 a day. So with the same amount of staff. So, I mean, that's our major, what we're really dealing with right now is to continue to ramp up significantly, address all technology solutions, streamline our processes. We're hitting it from every angle, improve communications, improve our website. We put a pandemic portal on our website with extensive FAQs.
Ms. Hilliard, may I interrupt you?
Sure, please. Sorry.
As I'm sympathetic to the situation that your department finds yourselves in. I recognize that just a couple months ago, there was not a huge demand for your services. That has changed radically. I recognize it's happened at the same time that the program itself has changed dramatically because of the Federal CARES Act. But ultimately, what I think we have to be thinking about is going forward. And so to the extent that claims support phone calls can be taken from 8 to 8, which is currently done for technical calls, but the demand is for claim calls. I recognize you're hiring. I recognize you're training people. When can you say that is a reasonable figure for us to hold you accountable for claims support to be going from 8 to 8 at the call center?
I can't give you that date right now. Again, we do already have that. People are escalated if they need assistance during 8 to 8. So it's not that it's not available. It is, but it's primarily used for assistance. And we did increase the system access for all the agents that work 8 to 8, as well as provided additional training. So how they were when they started versus how they are now is much different.
Understood. And maybe you can go back and see if you can provide us with some sort of timeline to let folks know. Because right now what my constituents are telling me is they call this number, they go through a series of phone tree, and then they get hung up on. And I recognize that you said you have capacity of getting over 70% of the calls cared for when they called in, but man, that is just not what my office is hearing. And if I can transition to another part of this, because my office, and I think all my colleagues' offices, are serving as de facto call centers for EDD, what we're frustrated by is that because we're taking on that responsibility, which is our job, we don't have a very good response time in terms of our inquiries on behalf of our constituents. Right. So can you speak to what plans you have and specifically timelines to reduce the amount of processing that it takes to get an answer for our constituents when we make an inquiry to the legislative branch?
Right, absolutely. So when this started, we had one person in the office that dealt with constituent referrals. We have just finished training and ramped up to 25, and then we've just added another 20 today. So we've been about 3 weeks out in responding. And so we're trying to bring that into at least like a week to be much more responsive, because we certainly understand, I mean, people are needing assistance. And I do want to thank all of you for assisting with this and getting the word out and helping claimants to work through EDD and get answers. You're a great partner in this, and I appreciate it.
So the 3-week experience that we're having now, we presumably will be down to a week response time starting today, starting next week?
No, we just added 20 more people, so we're up to 45 now. So we're hoping to get through the backlog in the next 3 weeks, and then really get things caught up.
Okay, so then I recognize that a big part of this challenge is the antiquated information technology system that's being used. What is
Yes.
being done to improve technological efforts so that the documents that frankly are holding up these applications can be accepted in some format other than mailing or fax or the ways you currently accept them?
So prior to the pandemic, we were in the process of implementing, it's called the Benefit Systems Modernization Project, and it's actually a BCP that's coming forward. We are ready to award a vendor in late fall, and we're doing a full-scale replacement system of our UI, DI, and PFL system. For the very reason of what you can imagine, because we're dealing with a very inflexible, our UI system is actually made up of like 4 or 5 different systems that are bolted onto a mainframe system that still use COBOL programmers, which is a 60-year-old program language. So we've done a lot we brought in vendors and California Department of Technology and Office of Digital Innovation to assist us during this time until our BSM project is rolled out. Unfortunately, the pandemic hit prior to this rollout, and that's what's caused some of the delays in getting things up as quickly as possible, because we have a very inflexible system, and it's a very challenging.
So for the purposes of this committee, which looks at the proposed budget, this budget is inclusive of what you need to modernize ED's technology program?
Yes.
Okay.
And like I said, we're getting ready to award a vendor here in the fall. So it's critical. I mean, we have been on that path for the last few years, and because we know the inflexibility, it's not sustainable long term. We need COBOL programmers to keep what we've got going on, and we have to train our own. We need to get into a whole new situation for our customers and for our staff. So we are on target with our benefit monitoring system project. We've been partnering with CDT on this, California Department of Technology, to expedite this whole project in the past year. So we're actually coming out and awarding a vendor a year earlier than we originally anticipated. So we're thrilled about that, because definitely we want to move to a place where we need to be that are responsive to the citizens of California. Because what we have now isn't I'm right there with you.